Hola, hola, and welcome back to Cultura and Cash podcast. This is Giovanna Gonzalez, otherwise known as Gigi, or the influencer, the first gen mentor. I'm a financial educator, speaker, and author of the best selling book, Cultura en Cash. First, I want to thank you so much for the support on last week's episode. If you missed it, I put out an episode on the real reason I started this podcast. Go listen to it, it's a juicy one. And I did set a boundary where I asked you to not try to figure out who this person was, to not DM me and ask me who it was because it wasn't about the person, it was about the story. And everybody respected that. And that really, really means a lot. That, again, you guys were just able to focus on the lesson and not like the petty drama. So I really, really appreciate that. And it definitely encourages me to share more stuff, right? Knowing that those boundaries will be respected. Some exciting news. Cultura and Cash made the American Bookseller Association's Indie Personal Finance bestseller list, which means that based on sales at independent bookstores from January to March 31st, it made the top 25. And this is such a big deal because this means that my book is selling well at independent bookstores. And I've been very intentional when promoting the book to say, hey, it's available at all major online retailers. But if you have the ability to, please support your local bookstore or go to bookshop.org, which is a online platform that supports independent bookstores. So the fact that my readers have listened to me and really gone to their local bookstore, requested the book, it really, really means a lot because you're supporting a small business in your community. And yeah, it really lights up my heart because I mean, the easiest way is Amazon, and I'm not going to act like I didn't always used to buy my books at Amazon. I did. But once I learned that Amazon purposely sells them at a discount to price out small bookstores that can't compete with those prices, that's when I'm like, oh no, we cannot keep shopping here. So again, no judgment. I understand depending on your finances, if Amazon's what you can do, that's what you can do. I actually would encourage you to check it out from your library instead of buying it from Amazon. But if you have the ability to support a local bookstore, then that would really help out your community and that small business owner. So that really, really makes me happy to hear. What's also really cool about this list is that I'm there. Little old me in my book is there with big players. A lot of books that I've read myself to teach myself financial literacy. So I Will Teach You to Be Rich. That book is always going to be on best-selling list because it's a classic. Tiffany Leach's Get Good with Money, The Little Book of Common Sense Investing, You Are a Badass at Making Money, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't like that book or the author, but obviously it's a classic too. So it really, really feels special to be included in a list with those big players. I just got back to Chicago from a whirlwind week in New York City. I arrived there on Tuesday and left Saturday. It was a rainy time in New York. It poured the whole day, and I had a rain jacket, I had an umbrella, but it was like raining cats and dogs. And yes, I was there during the earthquake, but as a fellow Californian, I did not feel it. I feel like I don't feel anything less than 6.5 because we're just so used to it being in Southern California. I actually slept through it, so no, I did not feel the earthquake. On Wednesday, I had a panel discussion with NASDAQ in Times Square. So that was really fun for Financial Literacy Month. Then I did a LinkedIn Live with Latina professionals. The replay is still available to watch on LinkedIn. So if you didn't get a chance to tune in live, please check it out. It was a great discussion with Rafael from Latina Professionals surrounding the book and the teachings and just the importance of financial literacy in our community. Then I did get some fun time in. I got to do dinner with some friends slash content creator friends. I met for the first time a lot of these people that I've connected with online. I met Ale from Spanish con Ale, who she is my amazing Spanish tutor. When I did the Fidelity Project last year and I had to do it in all Spanish, she gave me intensive tutoring 3 to 4 times a week, and she really helped me deliver that project. So it was nice to finally meet her in person. I also met Sophia from Corporate Pero Latinos. She and I have collabed many times digitally. We've like been in each other's DMs, but we had not met in person yet. So it was cool to meet her in person. And I was also there with my bestie Noemi, who's also a content creator. She has lifestyle content on TikTok, and my life coach Myra, which I had already gone to meet Myra Salinas at my launch party in Chicago when she came in January. But it was fun. It was good vibes. We went to a Thai place, had some appetizers before going to my NYU event at the NYU Latinx Alumni Network. We had a great event. It was very well attended. I was a little worried because of the rain. I'm like, oh my God, are people not going to make it? But it was a very well attended event. And I also had a special guest there. I had my friend Adrian, who he's been my friend since we were 10. So he was there in the audience. That was nice to see him there. Thursday, it was a much easier day than it was Wednesday. Wednesday was packed. Thursday, I had an early morning. I had a local TV segment with PIX 11. I think they're part of the WGN news network. They're local in NYC. Then I got some time to rest. I needed it. I probably napped for like 2.5 hours at the hotel. And then I went to dinner with Noemi again. Noemi stayed with me, so I spent a lot of time with Noemi. And I got to meet Jorge Alvarez. So his handle is Jorge Alvarez. He and I too connected almost 3 years ago. He's also a TikTok Latinx Creative Grant winner. I love the work that he does, so it was nice to finally meet him in person and catch up. Then the three of us headed off to my author chat at the World's Bureau Bookshop. So I got to meet Adrian, aka Book Papi, the owner of the World's Bureau Bookshop, in person, and that was really nice. And no shade to my other events that I've done, but honestly, this was my favorite one because it was so cozy and intimate. The capacity, I believe, was 30, and the seating was just tight, but it just made for like a very intimate conversation. So I love the vibe, and we had such a great time. So I'm so glad to be able to support his bookstore. I was supposed to leave Friday, but my flight got canceled, so I had to wait till Saturday. So I just stayed in the hotel and relaxed for another night. United should be refunding me for that extra day, but we'll see. So yeah, I left Saturday morning. Excuse me. I wanted to share some upcoming book tour dates. I am winding down on the book tour. I believe I've been to 6 places. How many places have I been to? I don't know. I'll have to count later. 6 or 7 places. Right now, I only have plans to have 2 more book tour stops for my spring book tour. My next one will be in LA, specifically in the Downey City Library on April 18th at 6 p.m. It is an event that's free and open to the public. And I had teased a potential event in Florida. I have more details now. It'll be on Saturday, April 27th. It'll be in Fort Lauderdale, and I will be collaborating with Carla Santamaria, aka the First Gen Coach. You may know her from online. She gives wonderful career advice, and she talks about like HR. It's really, really great content. So I'm excited to collaborate with her. We've done lives before. I will be in Deerfield Beach for my work assignment with Secret Deodorant, and I was thinking of driving to Miami, but I heard the traffic is bad. I saw it's an hour away. I'm like, I'm already going so far. How about I meet people at a midpoint? So it seemed like Fort Lauderdale was a good midpoint. So if you're in Miami and bummed that I'm not in Miami, I'm sorry. It's just I'm tired from traveling so much, so I really didn't want to have to drive the hour. So I hope that you can meet me midway. I'm trying to pick a venue that's close to, I believe it's called Brightline, is what Lisette told me. It's some sort of bullet train or something, is what she said. So hopefully you're able to come to the event on Saturday the 27th. We don't have the time yet. We're still working it out. I don't have any future travel plans to be in that area. So this is your chance to come and meet me and listen to a panel about the book, a panel discussion with Carla, or really an author chat. It's not a panel discussion because it's just me. So Carla will be moderating it. I may be in the Miami area in September or October during Hispanic Heritage Month if work drives me out there, like if there's a work opportunity. But as of right now, there are no solid plans to be back in Miami. So like I said, if you want to meet with me, this is the time to make the drive up and go to Fort Lauderdale. So I hope I get to see you there. Still figuring out the venue. It will likely be at a coffee shop. I already have my eye on one of them. But if you know of a good venue in Fort Lauderdale where I can have probably 50 people, let me know. Please slide into my DMs on Instagram, and that will be good because I just don't know. Hopefully, Carla's gonna help me with the planning, and so is my project manager. But like I said, if you're from the area and if you know a good venue or a Latina organization that would like to host me while Carla moderates the discussion, please contact me via LinkedIn message or IG DM. Let's see, last thing here. Sign up for my newsletter to be able to get first access to those tickets to Fort Lauderdale before the announcement is live on my socials. The link to sign up is in the show notes. Speaking of the newsletter, I am going to be doing a newsletter exclusive giveaway. I think I already shared last week that I'm giving away a VIP PR box. These are the PR boxes that I gave out to my big influencer friends like Delara, Ana Powwow, Yo Quiero Dinero, Andrea Casanova, Lisette Calv, all these influencers with a bunch of followers that I sent these boxes, custom-made boxes valued at $145. Your box is going to include a hardcover a signed copy of Cultura en Cash, as well as a Yo Sabo card game, Cadena Collective bookmark. It's beautiful. It's the prettiest bookmark you've ever seen. A delicious Bonita Fierce candle, and a Bold and Glow 2024 planner. It's not too late to still get a planner and to map out your goals, as well as some fun Mexican candy that remind me of my childhood. Again, this giveaway will be exclusive to my email list only, which means that to get access to it and learn the instructions to enter, you have to be a part of my email list because that's how I'm going to share the instructions. I'm not going to share the instructions on LinkedIn, TikTok, or Instagram or anywhere else. You can sign up for free in the link in my show notes. And keep an eye on your email because this email with the instructions for the giveaway will be out by Wednesday. Hopefully I can send it out on Tuesday, but at least by Wednesday it should be out. Today's topic is going to be about the book tour. So I met Memo, who he and we've been connected since my back in the day TikTok days. He's one of my most loyal followers, and he actually came to Latina Fest to meet me in person, and he bought 2 books for his daughter. So that was great. And he told me he listens to the podcast, which shout out to Memo. I said, Memo, what do you want me to talk about on the podcast next? And he's like, I love to hear like the behind the scenes of how you plan this book tour. And I'm like, all right, that would be a fun episode. So I'm going to be talking about how I decided the cities, how I've gone around the planning of the book tour, how much this has cost me, the pros and cons, and some lessons I've learned and things I would do different. So first, I want to share, I was not planning to do a book tour. I had actually spoken to Joe from Stacking Benjamin's podcast, and he did a 40-city book tour. That's a lot. That's like, I don't know, that's like Beyonce going on tour. It's a lot of days. Taylor Swift going on tour. And he said it was exhausting. He said he was able to secure a sponsor to pay for his travel, which was either like flights or car rentals and hotels. But he told me he regrets having such a big tour because he says you get only like 10 people to show up at these events. He's like, back in the 90s, that was really the only way to connect with authors through book tours. And now people will feel connected to you through social media. So they don't attend in person or they get social anxiety. So he told me if I were to do it again, I'd have a smaller book tour, probably like 10 cities max, which is way smaller than the 40-city book tour he went on. So that was good. I really appreciate that he gave me his honest feedback about how he felt about his book tour. And again, he had a sponsor, so he didn't have to bear those costs. And he still was like, it was a lot. I lightly pitched the idea to my sponsors. You know, I have a lot of sponsors that pay me to do brand deals on social media. I didn't really get any interest, and I'm not surprised. They weren't sure if the book was going to be successful, if it was going to land, so it was kind of a risk. So I'm not surprised that for this first book tour in the spring, I didn't have any sponsors. We're going to pitch to some sponsors in the summer, and hopefully we can get some sponsors for the second part of the tour, which will be during Hispanic Heritage Month when the audiobook is released. Um, so since we didn't get any interest, I had to put some budget to the side in case I did want to make it happen. And like I said, I was kind of leaning towards no because I had such a full plate with the book launch, but my amazing marketing strategist, Vanessa Valentin, was the one that really encouraged me. She said, I really think you should do a book tour. Even if it's a small one, she said, I think you should do one. So we decided on 3 major cities: Chicago, LA, and New York City. Oh, and I did count. I've done a total of 7 events to date. Chicago was easy. I live here. I have connections here. I have friends here. So it's been very easy to organize events. I did want to remind you that I have paid for all my travel. So for LA and New York City, we'll get into the numbers for those. But I have been very lucky that I've had partners or organizers that have said, hey, I want to host you for a book tour stop, which makes it really easy for me because then I just show up and do my magic and I'm not involved in the planning process. So when I had my stops in Chicago, which my first one was at Ravenswood Breakfast House, which is my friend Aide's family owned business. Please support their restaurant, Latino owned restaurant. It's delicious. They have breakfast and lunch. They took care of all the organizing, so that helped me a lot. I was just able to show up with Alejandra Campoverdi. The same for Los Amigos Books in Berwyn. The store owner, shout out to Laura, reached out and said, hey, I'd love to host you. So again, I just show up, right? I don't have to worry about chair rentals or booking a venue. And the most recent one was at Back of the Yards with Latina Sweat Project. That was on March 21st. And Margarita was the one who had the idea to collab. This event was very different from my other ones that are very centered on my book. This was more about just Latinas, wealth, and wellness. So the book was kind of like an afterthought, and I liked that because it was just a change of pace. But Margarita has a wonderful team with Latina Sweat Project. They're a well-oiled machine, and they put a beautiful event together. I just posted a reel on TikTok not on TikTok yet, only on Instagram. On Instagram of a recap of that event. So check it out if you can. But yeah, that was a wonderful event. And again, they took care of the planning and I just showed up, which made it really easy for me to go. When I went to LA, I had planned initially doing one stop, and that was at Bookstores Cafe, and that's owned by Gabby. Gabby and I have been friends for a while. So Gabby's like, girl, I got you. Just let me know what day and I will take care of all the organizing because the cafe closes in the early afternoon. So she does rent out the space for community events. And she was kind enough to host me for free. I still need to reach out to her, by the way, because we have some things to sort out. And then, so that was supposed to be my only stop. And that was a small venue. I think it had maximum capacity of 35. And then I had heard from Latina Fest saying, hey, we'd love to invite you to come and speak and have an author booth at Latina Fest. And I looked up Latina Fest and I saw that how many attendees they had. And I'm like, well, this would be a great opportunity for the people that couldn't go to Postres because Postres sold out. So I went to Latina Fest 2 weeks later. So again, that was easy because I just showed up to Latina Fest. They had everything set up. With Postres, Gabby had everything set up. New York City, how did I go about that one? So for New York, I've known since January that I was set up to do this interview with NASDAQ, which the interview's out. I'll share it on socials later this week. It was a great interview. So I had to pay for my travel to New York to go for this NASDAQ interview. So I'm like, okay, let me make a book tour stop out of my time that I'm there. The first person I got in touch with was Book Papi from the World's Bureau Bookshop. I know him from the TikTok Latinx Creatives cohort. And he said, of course, I'll host you. So that was nice and easy. Again, he took care of all the setup. He has a venue. Then I think somebody at NYU saw that I was going to be in New York and they reached out. And they're like, we're part of the NYU Latinx Alumni Club. We'd love to host you. So again, I'm just like, okay, you're making it easy for me to say yes. I just show up, right? So that was great. And that was great because the Book Papi event was limited, similar to the Posters event in LA. So the NYU event, I believe it had a capacity of 75. So that was great. Uh, the Downey City Library, which is my next one, it is coming up. Wait, did I already give my dates? I did. Yeah, at the top of the show, I gave my two upcoming book tour dates. So the one that's coming up on the Downey City Library, they reached out to me via DM, said that they were interested in hosting me. They said, hey, next time you're in the area, let us know and we will plan an event. Luckily for this one, I do have a speaking engagement in Orange County. So that speaking client is paying for my travel to be speaking to their college in person, and then I will stay an extra day to do this free community event at the Downey City Library. So that works out perfectly because, again, the library takes care of all the setup, and I believe the capacity for that one is 130 people. So it'll be a nice group of people. For Fort Lauderdale, this will be my hardest one to plan out of the other events because, again, the other events I've been invited by folks that are like, I want to host you, or I've had good relationships with people and they're like, of course I'll host you. So I don't have any connections. I don't have any connections in Fort Lauderdale. Oh my gosh, so mouthful. Fort Lauderdale. So it does require more planning. So if you happen to know anybody who would be interested in hosting me, like any sort of Latina organization, a library, anything like that, please help me get in touch with them. Again, contact me through DM, contact me through LinkedIn messages. As of right now, again, because I don't have any contacts, even though I am doing this event with Carla, we're left on our own to pick the venue and the chair rental and all this place. So it's looking like it might be at a coffee shop, again, close to that Bright Line station. But if you know of a venue that might be a good fit for what I'm looking for, again, an event space for 50 women to be able to sit down while we do an author chat about the book and then finish with a book signing, please contact me. Costs. Let's see. So, costs. I have not done the math on how much I have spent on this book tour, but I know I have some estimates. I would say, based on my two LA trips, so one for Postres and one for Latina Fest, and then my NYC trip that I just came back from, I would say the costs are probably $6,000 to $7,000, and this is because of flights, hotels, car rentals, meals, right? Luckily, all this is business expense, so I'm able to write it off, but still a nice chunk of change. Do I make money on this book tour? Not really. It's not something that I did expecting a return on my investment because, again, I don't really make money from book sales. I get $5 per book, and the book retails for like $20, so I get a quarter of that. So even though it's been great to sell books like I did at Latina Fest, financially, did I get $6,000 to $7,000 back to be able to recover my travel costs? No, I did not. But I'm responsible, fiscally responsible. So again, I had budgeted for that out of the business revenue to be able to cover this expense. Even though financially I didn't gain much from this book tour, I am very happy I did it because it was a great way to connect with my readers and meet with them in person, even connect with new people that are like, I've never heard of you, but my friend has followed you on TikTok for years and she told me to come to this event and I can't wait to read the book. There was a lot of those connections too. It was great to build community and more loyalty and trust with my audience. And it also, a nice bonus is that it also makes for good marketing material on socials. So I'm able to do these recaps of the events. So instead of the post just being like, buy the book, it's a recap of the events, showing some B-roll or with the voiceover or a description of the event, and then being able to promote the next event. And again, I'm really glad that I did the book tour because, no shade, but I've seen other authors that launched their book at the same time I did in January, and their hype for their book has died down. And I don't think it's because they're bad books. I think it very much is because they didn't go on a book tour. So I'm very thankful that Vanessa encouraged me to do this book tour because it has helped extend the lifetime of Cultura en Cash. And I mean, it helps too, right? There's also Financial Literacy Month, so it's still very, very relevant. So I'm really glad that I did do this book tour. Would I do it again? Would I do everything again the same way? I would do it again, yes, but I do have one regret, and that regret is not changing my LA trip and consolidating it into one. Because what happened was I went to LA twice in 1 month. I went in the beginning of the month and towards the end of the month, first for Postres, then for Latina Fest. What I should have done is I should have talked to Gabby, because again, we're close friends, and asked her to reschedule me closer to Latina Fest. That way I could have killed two birds with one stone. But I didn't, because I know Gabby's busy and I didn't want to have to, she's already doing me a favor. So I didn't want to have to reschedule. But I really wish I would have, because it would have simplified my life. And I don't think that would have been such a big deal to Gabby either. And yeah, I would have saved myself probably like an extra two. Well, not probably. I would have saved myself an additional $2,000 if I would have consolidated that trip. So that's my biggest regret. But otherwise, very, very good experience doing this book tour, meeting people in real life, especially after being gone for so long in this writing cave where I had to focus on my writing deadlines. Some lessons that I've learned: I don't like selling books in person, not because I don't like the act of selling. I actually do, because I'm very proud of my product, of my book, and what I put together. So it's not that part. The part that I don't like is having to lug my books. Books are heavy. And you have to, like for Latina Fest, I had 7 or 8 boxes, and they're 20 pounds each. Thank goodness I lift heavy weights, so I'm able to carry them, but still, I had to walk far from the car with the boxes. And the event did help some, but it still is, it's a lot to carry books that didn't sell. And it's not about like being upset that the books didn't sell. It's being upset about having to lug heavy stuff around. That's just like I'm too fabulous for it, but I got stuck doing it. So that's why all the other events, Latina Fest is the only event where I was there selling books. The rest of the events that I've had, I've always encouraged my readers, come with your own book. Please buy it from a local bookstore if you're able to. If not, go to bookshop.org. If not, go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, right? But that way, me as the author, besides being there and spending my time there, my energy there, I don't have to also carry heavy stuff. So I learned that with Latina Fest, and yeah, I decided I will not be lugging books again, because it's just, the ROI isn't there, and also it's just not fun to have to carry heavy things like that. I learned from my first book tour event with Ravenswood Breakfast House to use a timer. I made a LinkedIn post about this a couple weeks ago, to use a timer when doing a book signing, because the first time I did it, I just went willy-nilly and just spent as much time as I wanted to talking to folks. Some folks, I talked to them for a minute, some 5 minutes, some 3 minutes. It was just very imbalanced, and it made for very long lines. So instead, since then, I've implemented a 60-second timer, and it works great, because it's just enough time for me to still be able to talk to my reader and get to know them, know their story. They can share feedback about the book and me sign the book, take a photo, and then it's time for the next person. And even though it kind of sounds harsh to like, there's a timer and next, it does make it a better experience for everybody, because the lines aren't as long. The line at RBH that first time was so long. I felt so bad. I think some people were in line for 2 hours. I'm not even joking. That's just too long. So this way, the line is a lot smoother. And I tell people, you can come back in line, but this way everybody gets an equal chance, right, to come and get their book signed. Also, with the timer, I learned to get help with this timer. At first, I did it by myself, but it's a lot. It's a lot to be meeting people, taking photos, signing books, listening to their stories, and also managing a timer. So if you can have somebody that's hosting you at the event or a friend use a timer, then that can really be helpful, is what I've learned. I also learned to encourage people waiting in line to make friends with their neighbors, because the first time I didn't know any better, right? It was my first time doing a book tour stop. So I looked back at the photos and footage, and there were a lot of women that were just in line quietly holding the book, waiting their turn to meet me. but you're at an event with like-minded Latinas. You're in community. So the point is for you to get to know other women. And I know some people may prefer not to. Maybe they're more introverts. Maybe they're neurodivergent. But if you feel comfortable to, I encourage my readers to meet each other there, because you just don't know what kind of connections you might make. And you might make a new friend. You might meet a new industry person who can connect you to your new job. You just don't know how this person can support you. So I've been encouraging that at every event now, and it's nice. There's magic that happens. And another trick I've learned, and this is from another author, was to pass out post-its while people are waiting in line so that the readers can write down their name, because there's just so many iterations on like how to spell Melanie, how to spell, is it Stephanie with the Y or with an IE, right? So this way it just saves time and I can clearly see the name of the reader. So that's a hot tip for you there if you are an aspiring author or a future author. And lastly, my project manager, Vanessa, has been key in organizing these events. Even though, again, I have the hosts that are hosting me organize everything, there's still a lot of back and forth about, wait, so what's the capacity? Wait, is the landing page up? There's a lot of back and forth to organizing an event, and thank goodness that Vanessa is very good at that, and she's been the middle person to be able to handle all that communication. So thank you, Vanessa. I know you listen to the podcast. I'm very, very thankful for you. What's something I wish I'd done differently? Well, besides consolidating the LA trip to one to save me $2,000 and also to save me the travel time. I mean, traveling from Chicago to LA, it's like 4 hours. It's quite a bit, and it was exhausting. It was a lot. I wish that I'd asked for support to the other cities that I wanted to hit, or states rather. I really wanted to hit Texas because I kept getting requests for Texas, and I really wanted to hit Florida, specifically Miami. So I wish that I would have been more bold earlier in the process and said, hey, I really want to make it out to Texas. Please help me get in touch with a speaking client that could be interested in my services. And I didn't. I think I was very passive about it. So it didn't happen. So I encourage you to be bold and ask, because sometimes people don't know how they can support you unless you ask, right? So I'm sharing it now, putting it out into the universe. I would love to be in the Texas area, either Houston or Dallas, for the fall leg tour. So when the audiobook comes out, and I'm promoting the audiobook during Hispanic Heritage Month, I love to be in Texas. So if you can think of any organizations, any colleges, any universities that would be interested in having me speak about financial education, about career advocacy for Latinas, about the teachings of my book, Cultura en Cash, about entrepreneurship, about building your personal brand, these are all topics that I can speak on. I would love to get in touch. So planting a seed for any of my listeners. If you know of any organizations there, please send them my information, or even contact me and send me their information so I can try to get in touch with them. I also would love to make it to San Francisco, the Bay Area. So again, hopefully this all manifests and happens in the fall book tour. Other than that, I think that's it. So I hope that's been insightful and seeing the behind the scenes of a book tour. Again, financially, it's not there, but community wise, to connect with your reader, to have more content to market the book, it's worth it. And I do like to travel. I love to travel for pleasure, but for work, obviously, it's a different pace. It's more fast paced. But I do like to travel. So, and it's nice. I'm racking up points. So when I do travel for pleasure, I'll get some free nights at some Marriott's and some discounted flights with United. So that's nice. I hope that you found this podcast insightful. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps with discoverability. And we're very close to hitting 5,000 downloads, which I think is exciting. That means that the episodes that I've put out since January have been listened to 5,000 times. So that's really, really exciting. I'm really excited to get more serious with the podcast once I'm done with the book tour. So that will be this summer. So again, thank you for listening. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and see you next Money Monday.